The Bells of Newtown, a sonnet for Nancy Lanza. At Sandy Hook in Newtown, in the middle of December, a troubled boy named Adam looked up in the sky, then stole his mother's Bushmaster rifle, and no one quite knows why he murdered 20 of God's smallest creatures, 20 kids at Sandy Hook, and 6 of their teachers. The final gunshot wound that day, self-inflicted to the head, brought the total at the school to 27 dead. But here's one thing we choose not to remember. Nancy Lanza, Adam's mother, also died that day. Shot 4 times at dawn while sleeping in her bed she lay. The bells of Newtown, Nancy, no longer ring for you, nor for you do any mourners cry. It may not be fair, but fair or not, it's true. You're no longer thought a victim, even though you were the first to die. A lot of people sometimes come up and say, I really enjoyed your reading, but it's not really poetry, is it? And I used to interpret that as a much more adversarial question than I think that it was intended. I think a lot of people just mean, I didn't think I liked poetry, and yet I liked what you did. Therefore, either you must not be doing poetry, which is the easier answer for them, or else poetry must be bigger than I thought it was, which is my answer. Poetry is bigger than you think it is. There's no one monolithic definition of what a poem is. Samuel Johnson said, if you try to circumscribe poetry with a definition, you will end up showing more about the narrowness of the definer. I'm going to do another poem now called On Girls Lending Pens, about trying to borrow a pen from a girl who has 200,000 or 300,000 pens, but also has 200,000 or 300,000 reasons, minus one, that you cannot borrow each one of those pens. On Girls Lending Pens. I walked into the classroom and I straight to my chair, but when I reached for my pen, it wasn't there. I had no pen, or crayon, or pencil. I was stuck before class without a writing utensil. I could have asked the teacher if I had dared, but I know she would have said, "You're unprepared." So to be diplomatic and avoid the fight, I quickly turned to the girl on my right. Do you possibly have a pen I could borrow? I'll use it today, have it back by tomorrow. Oh, for sure, she said. I've got plenty. And she turned around with a handful of, like, 20. Oh, I really don't care what color or style. I'll take that fountain pen, I said with a smile. Oh, you don't want that one. It comes out all ugly. Plus, it's made of pure gold. Yeah. She said to me smugly. Okay, maybe the blue one. I'm afraid that one hops. Green one, I'm afraid it comes out in glops. Black one, I'm afraid it's having trouble connecting. Red one, I need it if we do any in-class correcting. Look, I said, my voice filling with fear, just give me a pen before the teacher gets here. But this one always comes out in tons. The yellow one skips and the purple one runs. When the brown one dries, it looks really icky, and the orange one's covered with something sticky. This one's for emergencies, in case I get confused, because it's clean and it's fresh and it's never been used. I keep this one for quizzes, because it brings good luck, and the ballpoint is splotchy, and the cap is stuck, and this one's empty with the silver band, and the felt tip will leak all over your hand, and this one's cracked, and that's gone berserk, and this one would be perfect for you, except it doesn't work. But here, take this one's fine. Oh, no, wait, sorry, that one's mine. I think she went on, but I couldn't have cared. I decided it was better to go unprepared. Thank you. What does come naturally for some poets, and I'm not one of them, is the ability to just come up with simile and metaphor at the drop of a hat. My heart hangs in my chest like a Salem witch is a line by Jeffrey McDaniel that I love. I try to write poetry in a very conversational tone so that when you are reading it, it sounds like you can hear someone speaking it. I also never say or ah or when I speak. although I still want to. And that gives my conversation a very poetic tone. So I work at it. I work at both. I work at making my writing sound like my speaking, and I work at making my speaking sound as though I am reciting something I have written before. What has happened to our conviction? Where are the limbs out on which we once walked? Have they been like chopped down with the rest of the rainforest? You know? Or do we have like nothing to say? Has society just become so filled with these conflicting feelings of bleh that we've just gotten to the point where we're just like totally, you know, just like absolutely whatever. And so actually our disarticulation-ness is just a clever kind of a, it's like a, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like a thing to disguise the fact that we've become the most aggressively inarticulate generation to come along since, you know, like a long time ago. So I implore you, I entreat you, and I challenge you to speak with conviction, to say what you believe in a manner that bespeaks the determination with which you believe it. Because contrary to the wisdom of the bumper sticker, it is not enough these days to simply question authority. You have to speak with it too. And that is all performance. Nobody's ever going to see your poem written once, let alone get a chance to read it again. When it comes to writing poetry for the page, the tools of the poet who write primarily for the page are very similar to the tools of the poet who writes for the stage. But there are some that they have that the other one does not have. And the one that I covet of the page poet is the ability for the reader to read things a second time. You can write in a more dense and a little bit more complicated syntax if you never expect the audience to be only hearing this. When I think about the ideal audience of my poetry, it is just that. It is an auditor. It is someone listening. Billy Collins, who's one of my mentors, when he writes, he thinks about one person sitting quietly in a chair, reading to herself. This next poem is called The Miracle Workers, and it's dedicated to all the teachers in the audience. Sunday nights I lie in bed awake as all teachers do, and wait for sleep to come, as though sleep were the last student in my class to arrive. My grading is done, my lesson plans are in order, and still sleep wanders the hallways like middle school band practice. I'm a teacher, this is what I do. Like a builder builds or a sculptor sculpts, a preacher preaches, and a teacher teaches. We are experts in the art of explanation. I know the difference between the questions to answer and the questions to ask. That's an excellent question. What do you think, Grant? If two boys are fighting, I break it up. But if two girls are fighting, I wait until that shit's over and then I drag what's left to the nurses. I'm not your mother, I'm not your father, I'm not your jailer, I'm not your torturer, I'm not even your biggest fan in the whole wide world, even though sometimes I act like all of these things. I know you can do these things that I make you do, that's why I make you do them. I'm a teacher and that's what we do, we're miracle workers. Once in a restaurant when the waiter said, "Can I bring you anything else?" And I said, "No, thank you, just the check, please." And he said, "Oh, come on, how about a look at the dessert menu?" I knew I had become a teacher when I said, "What did I just say?" Please don't make me repeat myself. In the quiet hours of the dawn, I write my assignment sheets and then I print them without spell checking them, because I'm a teacher and teachers don't make spelling mistakes, do we? So as a matter of fact, the new school dress code will affect all members of the 5th, 6th, and 78th grades. And if you need an extension on your essays examining the pubic wars from a hysterical perspective, you may have only until January 331st. I hope that's not a problem for anybody. I like to lecture on love. I like to speak on responsibility. At the drop of a hat, I will talk about honor and integrity and the importance of telling the truth always. And when my students say, Mr. Molly, are we going to be responsible for this? I say, if not you, then who? You think my generation is going to be responsible for this? We're the ones who got you into this mess. Now you are our only hope. And when they say, what we meant, Mr. Molly, is are we going to be tested on this? I say, every single day of your lives. Once, while a student of mine was digging in his backpack for a pen, I put on the corner of his desk a pen. But he didn't see me do it. So when I walked to the other side of the classroom and he raised his hand, still not seeing the pen that I had put on the corner of his desk and said, Mr. Molly, do you mind if I borrow a pen from you? I went, you still didn't see it. Possess everything you require to succeed, including a pen. Whoosh. For a second, he still did not see the pen that I had put on the corner of his desk, but said instead, Mr. Molly, you are probably the weirdest teacher I have ever had. Could you please just loan me a... Oh my God! You're a miracle worker. How did you do that? And I wanted to say all I did was give you what I knew you needed before you knew you needed it. So thank you for the compliment, but education is the miracle. I'm just the worker. I'm a teacher, and that's what we do. In class today, I talked about a guitar with cracked lacquer. Cracked lacquer. I just like putting those words together. It's like cheese on a cracker, something like that. Playing with words is a lot of what I do. I write musically. Honestly, I try to tell the truth, not necessarily the factual truth, but the honest truth as I remember it, even if it never really happened that way. Mark Twain said, some of my greatest memories are of things that never actually happened. Some of my greatest poems are of things that never actually happened that way. They think love is unpredictable. Who knows what love could do in its own defense? It may lunge at your throat with its pointy teeth. Nya! Nya! On cold winter nights, love lies between you and lives and breathes and makes funny noises. Love wakes you up all hours of the night with its needs. Love needs to be fed so it will grow and stay healthy. Love doesn't like being left alone for long, but come home, and love is always happy to see you. It may break a few things accidentally in its passion for life, but you can never be mad at love for long. Is love good all the time? I'm actually asking you. Those of you who have ever been in love or owned a dog, answer me this question. Is love good all the time? No. No! No! Love can be bad. Bad love. Very bad love. Love makes messes. Love leaves you little surprises all over the apartment. Love needs lots of cleaning up after. Sometimes you want to get a piece of rolled up newspaper and swat love on the nose, not so much to cause pain, but just to let love know, don't you ever do that to me again. Bad love. Sometimes, God help you, you just want to get love fixed. But most of the time, love just wants to go out for a nice long walk. Because love loves exercise. It'll run you around the block and leave you panting, breathless, or wrap itself around and around and around you until you're all wound up and you cannot move. If you throw things away, love will bring them back. again and again and again, but most of all, love needs love, lots of it. And in return, love loves you and never stops. If I had one message that I would leave to the students of Perkiomen, I would look directly into the camera and I will say, the life you have already lived is the one that you need to write about. Don't fall victim to the teenage disease of thinking, my life isn't good enough. I'm going to write about bigger things than me. Sabotage your own life first. Salvage your own life first. Go to those things. Write about specific. I talked in class today. Specific is better than general. Concrete is better than abstract. Singular experience is better than, things in general. Don't write about, my whole summer vacation was so great. I have so many friends who are so wonderful. I'm going to miss all of my friends. Talk about one, the person I'm going to miss most. You talk to a teenager and say, who are you going to miss most when you go to college? They go, just everyone. No, that's not interesting to me. What are you going to miss most? But I don't want to single one thing out because then all the other things will be jealous. Let them deal with that. I am going to miss you. I'm going to miss holding your hand. I'm going to miss the days like this on this campus. Be concrete, be specific, be detailed, be memorable.